I was at UOG at the time, and they used to play this at everybody's like fiesta, and it's interesting because you even see like the older crowd, they'd be like, oh, like it's
Oh, that is the cowboy song.
Yeah, but you would never dare actually say the lyrics because.
Oh, it's a nice song about riding the ponies.
Yeah. I've got a lot of memories of being. You remember? Okay, what kind of young person?
But you be at the fiesta, the song's playing, and then you get that one auntie who's like, wait a second, I'm what?
She's wise to it, right? She's like, huh? Okay, so Rory Respicio, the general manager of the Port Authority, is in the Zoom room right now, and we were just asking, like what kind of young person he was, because I was the kind of person, I had like the bolo chain, the wingtip shoes, slacks. I'm guessing, Chris, you were like a members only jacket guy, right?
Never.
You never had a members only jacket?
No, come on, Jake.
But Joe Sir was Mr. Parachute Pants. Sabrina,
yeah.
I'm sure, had like the checkerboard Vans.
We all had the parachute pants.
I did have the members only jacket.
You had the members. What color?
I had all the colors.
Wow.
And she had the Sammy's jacket too.
Oh, the Sammy's jacket.
I'm gonna wear that next week.
Yeah. Now you're on leave next week.
Oh yeah.
Yep, guys. Sabrina's going on leave. So when we get all crazy next week, don't tell her mom.
I actually want to ask something because okay, so Rory's in now. You got him, Joe Sir?
Sabrina's gonna call us on Tuesday. Like, what is going on in there?
Rory Buenas, I just got to ask you. I saw you nodding in very proud approval when Sabrina said she had the Sammy's jacket. Everybody on Guam had the Sammy's jacket, but were you the kind you had the map of Guam on the back, or did you have like Respicio down the sleeve?
No, in fact, we were having dinner with just immediate family last night, and my brother kept talking about back in elementary school. I had the members only jacket because I was a member of the safety patrol, and so I had the safety patrol safety badge.
Oh, nice!
My jacket over, and I would go and see anybody cutting in front of the line. This is me at 4th or 5th grade, and
everybody wanted that. Everybody wanted that vest. Just like when you had like the school portraits, everyone wanted to be like that first kid that would like hold up, like the blackboard that would say like, Mr. Barnett's class, like 5C. You'd be like that kid that would hold up the board. It was a great day if you did that.
Safety patrol. Wow. I was in safety patrol too.
Yeah, I bet you were.
You remember?
Well, those were the foundations of leadership, and I can absolutely see that, Rory. So maybe it's very overdue, but thank you for your service as a member of the Safety Patrol.
Well, and then having my big brother in the same school to run to if ever I have to enforce the rules. So it's all we talked about last night.
Well, your leadership carries on. Safety Patrol over at the Port Authority of Guam. We got a copy of that inter-office memo, and 24 out of 24 with the random drug testing negative. But then there were these notice of proposed adverse actions. Can you just tell us what prompted the random drug testing, first of all?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I didn't do a press release on this.
Right.
But I did the memo to all the employees informing them of our random drug testing. And obviously, I would have got around to it as I always do in the spirit of transparency. But that memo got leaked to the media, which is fine with me, right? So then you guys were calling to ask for a comment. I provided a statement. I going down this path even before my appointment as general manager. I was subcommittee chair for the young girl to know transition. So we've heard chatter of the drug use going on at the port. We've heard long-standing chatter that the drugs are coming out of the port. I'll have to say that for my entire 2 years, from an operations perspective, we have no evidence of the drugs being facilitated by the port employees, and certainly there are always going to be active investigations to audit those processes. Now, in terms of conducting random drug testing, the first year we were doing drug testing based on workplace accidents. We had no positives. Toward the latter part of last year, we had a workplace accident. The employee was tested. He was positive. And then a couple of weeks after that, so around mid-December, We had an incident, small damage to port property. There was a hole in the wall, gypsum board, and 3 people got tested. 2 came back positive for crystal meth. So at that point, I talked to our deputies, Dominic and Louis, and I had a management team meeting. And I said that I'm going to be issuing a memo to all the employees. I'm going to be reminding them of the drug-free workplace policy and the enforcement of it. I'm going to be reminding them that because of all the positions at the port, including myself as general manager on down, are all test designated positions. We're going to do drug testing based on reasonable suspicion and continue to do drug testing based on workplace accidents. And in that meeting, I told the management team, the division heads, look to your leaders all the way up. And if and reach out, and if they need help, get them to see me. Let's work with HR. We'll get them with Guam Behavioral Health. We'll get them the help that they need. But if they're going to be determined positive as a result of a drug test, then that's too late. And if an employee is found positive, and I know and I can confirm that the leader on up had evidence or had an idea or knew that employee should have been drug tested anyway for reasonable suspicion, I will not hesitate to take adverse action. And so that memo was released to all the employees on December 31st. And then so this past Monday, we did a random drug testing based on reasonable suspicion for one division. 24 people were tested, as you just mentioned. All 24 came back negative. There were 2 evaders. One employee said he forgot something in his car, and so he left. The other employee...
I forgot something in my car excuse.
Yeah. The other employee said that I forgot, I'm coughing, I'm not feeling well, I have to leave. And in the past, if an employee does not take the drug test, apparently they go on sick leave for 5 days, then they come back. But I was very clear to HR, you call the 2 of them up and advise them that they're already evading the drug-free workplace policy, and so that's grounds for adverse action. And if they just come in and give a specimen and let the chips fall where they may, we'll take it from there. And so within that day, they both chose to resign. Nobody told them to resign. They chose to resign, but that they resign in bad standing, and so they won't have those reemployment rights. And so
dishonorable resignation. Rory, you said a lot in the beginning there, but we had got a tip that several weeks ago 3 workers in the yard tested positive. Did you confirm that?
For COVID, because I had another media
drugs
last night.
Drugs.
2 of them. I just mentioned that when we tested 3, 2 came back positive. And I'll talk a little bit about. So the first workplace accident, the employee did everything right. He admitted to his use. It was meth, and so in the policy, drug-free workplace policy, there's a suspension and lieu of termination. So I chose to take the maximum consequence allowable. It was still very financially painful for that employee. He went to Guam Behavioral Health, did the intake, did the drug rehabilitation. And I have about 10 days from the time I issued the notice of proposed adverse action to taking final action. And so within those 10 days, I had him tested within those 10 days several times, and he came back negative. So when it was the 10th day, I did what I did in terms of giving the maximum consequence based on the administrative action process. And then the employee is still at work. But then the rules provide that if he were to test positive at any time, then that's automatic termination. In the case of the 2, same process, owning up to it, going through behavioral health. I tested the 2 of them that tested positive. 1 came back positive again. And so obviously you can figure what the result for that was. And then the other employee came back negative, still going through Guam Behavioral Health. And so this is what I'm telling the employees, that I've been general manager for 2 years. I I believe in the Port Strong family concept. I've asked them to make Dominic, Louie, and I part of the family, and we're treating these incidences as though any family would treat drug addiction, substance abuse, alcohol abuse in the workplace and at home. And so we're going down this process. So if the chatter is there's rampant drug use at the port, we tested 24, and all 24 came back negative.
Are you planning on testing other divisions?
Yeah, we're gonna continue to go down this road, and that drug test, only the one person in HR and myself knew about it, and that's the way we have to do this. But I mean, I'm still calling all the employees, telling them if you need help, come see me. We'll work with HR. I've already reached out to Director Teresa Ariola from Guam Behavioral Health to ask her to assess her capacity and see what the port can do to get some drug rehabilitation programs going if in the event people self-surrender to me. Because I can't just say, come see me, and then I have nowhere to send them. So Teresa has always has been receptive, and we're waiting for those instances where we have to tap into behavioral health.
And guys, just if you're just tuning in, we're talking about port workers testing positive for drugs, not COVID. Rory,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just...
Right, but the 24 that were tested, none of them
Right.
had, in the recent round of testing, did not test positive for drugs. This is the two that
So how many total, Rory? First, I guess, how many random drug tests have you guys had up there at the port at your direction in the during your tenure as the GM?
Like I mentioned, we've been doing drug testing resulting from a workplace accident, but that was the first random drug testing that I had authorized since being at the port. Because, for me, it's a process. And the employees know, guys, that Sabrina, Chris, and Jason, that I'm not looking to find these people to terminate them. I'm looking to find these people so that we can bring them in and get them the help that they need. It goes back to the transition report. It goes back to the governor, lieutenant governor, and the board asking us to think of the Port Authority as the Port Authority broader responsibility in the community. And then for me to identify someone through a drug test that they're positive, and I mean, if they just want to resign for whatever reason, if they want to be upset and not get the help, then they're determining their own fate. But we're not going soft on them in a sense that they have to do the hard work to go to Guam Behavioral Health to get cleaned up. To terminate someone who's willing to get the help, I think it just compounds the problem because there's no more income flow into that family, their spouse, their kids. They start to be a burden on public health and social services. They start to get desperate for money. They turn to a life of crime. Those are the things I'm thinking about. The governor's told me to think about it in everything the port does, not just the port community, but what's the port's responsibility to the community of Guam. And there are people, I'd be the first to say, that say, you should have just terminate them. They're positive, just terminate them. And we're assessing everything on a case-by-case basis. And I tell you, I'm not afraid to terminate anyone, and I have done so in the past 2 years. Last Saturday, we had an employee come to work at 6:15 in the morning. He was drunk, inebriated, and Port Police saw him wobbling. They did a sobriety test. He failed. I terminated him.
Wow. Roy, let me ask, do you think it may be a case of too little too late, and that maybe port employees with no random drug tests in the last couple of years maybe just got comfortable with being drugged out?
It's never too little too late, because we tested 24 and 24 were negative. And we're going to continue to go and test, Port Authority wide. And we just let the chips fall where they may. And they talk about it all the time. Even marijuana testing for marijuana, it's although it's recreational, it's still illegal if they become positive as a result of the drug test. So those 24 negatives includes the testing for THC. And if they're become aware of the environment because of the memo that I sent out on December 31st, then that's great that they're moving toward. But I don't want to say that they cleaned themselves up because they knew about a drug test. I want to say that they were drug free because the test resulted in negative.
What about that part in the memo that you put out about employees warning people that they're checking for stuff at the gate? Are you concerned at all about? I mean, not even necessarily what may be coming into the port, but what may be going out.
Well, correct. I got noticed that this employee around 6 o'clock in the morning put on the division chat that warning everybody not to bring in illegal stuff because Port Police is conducting their random vehicle searches and searches of property. And so I issued a notice of proposed adverse action. For me, that's obstructing the enforcement of the drug-free workplace, the safety, health and safety of the employees. So as part of the notice of proposed adverse action process, we had met with the employee, the 2 deputy general managers, his supervisor, and myself. And the employee, I told them that for me, saying don't bring any illegal stuff, you were condoning the drug use at the port. And then it was further from that. He said he supports a drug-free workplace. He wants everybody to be safe at the port. I cannot talk too much about what he was talking about. All I can say was whatever he was messaging in that chat had nothing to do with drugs, had nothing to do with illegal stuff, but just a general, hey, don't bring illegal stuff because they're doing random drug searches. And so this employee is a very quiet employee. He's comes to work all the time, hardworking, young. But I said, you're a very quiet employee, but yet you're not quiet enough to not warn the others not to bring any illegal stuff. And so that was one. Then the other 4 that I issued a notice of proposed adverse action on is 2 leaders, a supervisor and a superintendent. Allegedly, they knew that at least one of them that resigned was on meth because you could tell the signs. They're amping. We just know that when we look at someone and they're not behaving the way they should be behaving, those are the people that they have to document and write to me and say we have to have a drug test on this individual because this is the documented evidence of reasonable suspicion.
We had gotten or I had gotten a tip about employees at the port who had previously resigned due to a positive drug test and been hired back. Is that accurate, Rory?
There was one employee that I know who resigned because the drug test came back positive. This employee tried to explain herself to the former general manager that through a doctor's prescription, she was on fentanyl, which caused that kind of, but there was, the record never had a confirmatory drug test in her personal jacket. So when the position opened up, this person applied, rated, qualified, was among the top selected. And so in looking at that personnel jacket, and there's nothing that said there was a confirmatory drug result. Of course, I made the decision to follow the recommendation of the interview panel, but still the employee had to get tested to be hired. And because there was that situation that the employee went through, had to go to Guam Behavioral Health to get certification that they're not a drug user.
What division was this person hired back into?
Port Police. But that's the thing, right? Everybody is entitled to due process. Well, I know what you're thinking. Obviously,
do you?
I do. No, and since that employee's been back at work, there's no incident. No, imagine it's a tough situation for me to be in. I have to look at the record or lack thereof, and if the employee qualifies, went through the process, why wouldn't they why wouldn't they get the job, whether they were working at the port or not? I have no familial connection to this employee. I let the process take its course.
Can you say what division this testing, random drug testing, was conducted in?
Yeah, I didn't say it by design because there's some personal actions that I took. I didn't even say the employees or their divisions by design.
How long, I guess on average, were these the supervisors, 2 leaders, superintendent been employed? Are they long-time employees of the Port Authority?
Long-time employees, at least more than 5 years. You know, and that's the thing. I think it's a good wake-up call to condone this kind of allegedly to condone this kind of situation where there's one individual who another employee said, hey, one of the evaders, hey, he tried to run me over in the yard. But then there was no follow-up after that. So, I mean, there's a lot that I know. A lot of employees are coming forward to me in confidence. I think it's because we built that relationship and that trust with them. And even that situation on Saturday where the employee came to work inebriated, I guess we don't talk about things until it's on the table as family, right? Until it's right there staring us in the face. After that situation broke, then I'm getting messages from other employees saying that that individual always smelled of alcohol. But yet it's hard to do something about it because of the situation.
Right.
But it's a very different situation after Monday. I believe that we're getting a lot of the support that we need from the employees. We continue to get the support from the management team and all the supervisors here at the port.
Rory, you know,
Everybody wants.
Whenever we talk with the customs or GPD, and they talk about where all the meth is coming into Guam, obviously the mail is one, but they always say the port, right? The airport. With that being said, are you concerned at all with this recent drug activity that there may be drugs coming in through the port and going out through the port? And have you done anything to mitigate that? Is that even in your lane?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. There's only 2 entities that have regulatory responsibility over the inspection of containers. There's only 2 entities that can order the opening of a container. That's customs and the captain of the port. But having said that, the port does have a responsibility in ensuring that these entities are able to do their job. If you recall, early on, we had that mobile X-ray machine that was down for more than 10 months. When I found out about that machine was first purchased by a grant from Port Authority and Customs, and it broke, and Customs was supposed to get it fixed, but Customs couldn't get it fixed because it wasn't officially released to Customs. So this is a long-standing commitment of the governor and the board. We're also helping Customs through our consultants develop the container inspection facility. And early on, I told Chief Corredo, that he has an all-access pass to go everywhere and anywhere he needs to be on the yard. In the past, you had a situation where the priority was just to discharge the vessels, put the container on the chassis, and bring it on the community, and literally tell Customs to stay away because they're impeding port operations. But again, part of port operations is our responsibility to the broader community.
Okay. So in total, in the last, I guess, 6 months, how many port employees tested positive for drug use?
3. But there are 2 from that one division and then 1 from the other division.
Okay. So do we have a drug problem at the port?
Well, I'm not ready to say that we have a drug problem at the port. The evidence is we tested 24 came back negative. We'll continue to be transparent. I wrote this memo to all the employees in the spirit of transparency, and I told them what the results are, and whatever the results are going to be going forward, I'm going to be very open about it. and that's the way we're going to address this. I'm doing this also because of those 3 incidences that came up as a result of drug testing from a workplace accident, and then that's why we did the drug testing based on reasonable suspicion. But you'll continue to hear of these ongoing efforts. We have a strong partnership with Customs and other federal authorities, and that's the best way to address rumors, right? Is, okay, this is the chatter, let's do the test. And then when it comes back, it doesn't match what the chatter is, but we don't let our guard down. You don't look too happy, you two.
It's just a
no.
mask.
Yeah.
It's perplexing.
If you test positive, that's immediate termination unless you come forward prior to. Is it called? Is it safe harbor? I can't remember what the.
Yeah.
It's safe harbor, right?
Well, technically, we don't have safe harbor at the port. Law enforcement positions and test designated positions are not subject to safe harbor. All of the positions at the port are test designated positions, but everything begins and ends with the general manager, myself,
right,
in the enforcement of these policies. And so what I look at is if this is the requirement and I'm doing less than that, who is going to agree? But if I do more than what's required, then they will go to Civil Service Commission, as they should, and said that the punishment was harsh, cruel, and unusual. And Civil Service in past cases has said, instead of in former time, instead of a 30-day suspension, it should have been 10. So we are doing the progressive disciplining, but it's case by case. But I could assure you, I'm being consistent, and eventually they're all going to fall down. That's my thinking. But we want to, before they fall down, we want to try to catch them. And that's been my approach to all the port employees.
Can you confirm if former DOC officer Frankie Roslin is employed at the port?
He is. And he has been.
And under what position?
Under maintenance division.
I wanted to follow up on the...
But that's not a political position because it's classified. So it was merit-based. That's another situation that, I struggled with. Do you hold someone's past against them to the point where you're going to constantly keep holding them down? He submitted an application, he rated, he qualified for the job, he interviewed, and the interviewing panel came back with a recommendation. And so the selection was made, and I made that selection.
So what job title does he have?
Program coordinator 2.
So what programs is he coordinating? Not the drug program, right?
Well, if he's going to coordinate the drug program, then so be it. But he's doing maintenance program, preventive maintenance. He's working with that division. And if he still has subject to a 6-month probationary process, and so if he doesn't pass muster, certainly he's not going to be permanized.
Last time we had you on, you were talking about the survey that you were going to be doing amongst your employees to kind of check the temperature on how they felt, I guess, about management, right? Have you done that yet?
Yeah, just yesterday late evening, we are planning division. We did the survey. We had a 90.5% response rate, and planning did all the numbers. I have to admit, it was very, very talented group of individuals. They did on Excel, and you can quantify every demographic with every question. And so I just got those results now. We're working to provide that in a PowerPoint presentation that we would present to the board, to the governor, to the media, but first to the employees. But in those questions, the last 3 questions had to deal, for example, from poor to excellent, management has been accountable. From poor to excellent, management has been fair. Management has been transparent. But beyond those general questions, there are also questions like, how do my supervisor recognizes me for the good work that I do. Management recognizes me for the good work that I do. My supervisor has an open door policy. Management has an open door policy. Will rate your overall work experience at the port. I mean, these are, even though I believe that morale is high, productivity is up, I still wanted to do the climate survey. We wanted to do the climate survey to match if the individual responses match what we're feeling and hearing about the Port Authority. And just like the situation with the drugs, we're hearing that there's rampant drug use. So we do a test, and 24 tested, 24 came back negative. I'm always data driven. For example, as of November, our container throughput, we were 6% behind, and all our revenue is based on that activity. Most of our revenue is based on that activity. And then as of December, we're 1% ahead in our cargo throughput year to date, this time versus that time last year. We have a projected net income of about 4.1 million, and from month to month, we're still holding our own despite the pandemic situation that we're in. And the board has adopted the revenues based on the actual collection experience during this pandemic. So we haven't factored in military buildup activity, construction. We haven't factored in the tourism when it opens up. So this is what we're doing with the drug testing, is part and parcel to our overall responsibility to keep the port 100% operational, provide for the health and safety of the employees, and get everybody's cooperation.
Mm-hmm. So just a preliminary review of those findings. Are you happy, satisfied, anything of concern?
I'm going to wait, if it's okay, to let the board know, let the employees know, and the board and the governor, and not share that information at this point. But
okay.
I tell you, I'm very happy with the employees, and they're responding to the survey. Again, it's a trust factor, and we did everything right. We had the management meeting. I told them why we have to do the survey. Then I had asked them to have meetings with their employees. I reached out to the employees. It was anonymous, so we don't know who they are. And the only thing that we tracked through HR was their demographics, because data without knowing those types of demographics, years of service at the port, the division, if they're an employee, and if they're an employee, I want to know if they're union or non-union, and also with management.
All right. By the way, you guys up to date with overtime?
Absolutely. Overtime, we're up to date. We never skip a beat, and all the other pay requirements of the employees. In fact, we pay on Thursdays, but if it's a holiday, we always do our best to make payroll on the Wednesday following what the governor's doing for the whole of government.
All right. Thanks, Rory.
Thanks, Rory.
I'll keep you updated. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Okay.
You too.
807, we're KUAM FM, Magatni, Guam. This is the link on the breeze, 93.9 FM. To our viewers on KUAM TV, thank you so much for jamming with us. That was a fun interview. You want to jump on our Facebook Live feed, and you want some more of this multimedia extravaganza? Come on over. Do it traditionally on the radio. It's 808 again. My name's Chris.
I'm Sabrina.
Thank you. Hasta. Adios. Back. I'm just still stuck on that Frankie Rosalind thing. I mean, we're just talking about towing the hard line with the people on the drugs, and then we're hiring people who are involved in scandals of drugs. We're going to take a break. Coming up, FSM community here. They're the center point of a rapid engagement team outreach with the Department of Public Health and Social Services. So we're going to get the FSM Consul General on. We'll also get the FSM Association of Guam President, my friend Casanova. He is your Casanova.